How you doing? No booze today. It's a Sunday, I know, but I gotta pick somebody up at the airport tonight. It's like mid-afternoon right now, so I'm trying to knock this out early. Just wanted to talk about a couple things that happened, and you know me. My mind is like, I was all over the place this week. A lot going on. I haven't been like, I'm usually in a pretty good mood. I'm in a good mood overall, but I feel like I've been dropping a ball a little bit on things I got to get done. And that's mostly just due to the weather that we've had here. The sun is out right now, which is great, but it's been raining here for a couple days. I got a friend coming in to town, as I just mentioned, tonight, and we were gonna go up north on the 395 to like Lone Pine or something and try to shoot over the mountains, but it's impossible. Everything is snowed in up there. It's crazy. Major storms. I've been watching YouTubers, van lifers all day today, trapped up there. Most of them went there for that purpose of being trapped because it's really good. It's good. It's a good video. I'd like to do the same thing, so we'll see. We'll see how that goes. But my friend who's coming here, she lives in Montreal. I mean, it's winter there most of the year. So she wants to go to the beach, man, and out to the desert. Hopefully we'll squeeze that in. I think I worked the deal right with the IceCo people. Hopefully that stuff will get here this week. It will. If they're going to send it, we'll see. It's funny, you're not talking to somebody. It's strictly email. So until the package arrives, I'm not sure. I will owe them, and you guys will see it here, I'm going to owe them like a 7 to 10 minute initial unboxing, kind of talk about the product is and what it does, and then I'll take it out. So hopefully I'll be able to do the next one. I owe them at least like 4 minutes or so of it being in use on an adventure, which I'd like to do with my friend when she's here, while she's here this week. And then I owe them like 10 lifestyle photos and like some Instagram posts or something. So it's easy stuff for me to do. It'll be fun. And you guys will see it. Full disclosure, I'm not, this is one of those products. I'm giving this a shot. I've got a friend, George. He owns a company. He's been trying to give me really good advice on everything. George's a real smart guy. He's in the comments. You'll see him. Super cool guy. He owns that company, Extreme Outback Products. And he keeps telling me, he's like, dude, there's YouTubers that they want money. That they'll take the product. They also want to get paid. There'll be an affiliate link where you guys can save money that you can get a percentage on at the same time. I didn't set any of that up with these guys. It's my first time doing something like this. I see the channel growing, and I can see myself doing that from time to time. But I'm not going to do it on anything. I'm just going to do it on stuff that makes sense for me and that I believe in. And I'm going to be honest about it. I think you guys can expect it. You can expect that from me. So I'll keep you posted. As you guys know, you'll see it. I don't know about the focus on this. I notice a lot of the times when it gets darker, it's like the stuff behind me is in focus, but I'm not. And I've played with the camera distance and the zoom to try to make that happen like you can do with a regular camera, but that doesn't seem to be working for me. We'll see how this works out. I haven't had any complaints about it. That's just something I notice. So this week, some interesting things. I saw some things in the news that, not that I was watching the news. I see it when I watch news clips on YouTube and whatnot. And the first thing I just want to briefly discuss is some guy, you'll hear these things come out, and they're scare tactics. To me, there's scare story stuff for people who lean to the left. There's scare story stuff for people who lean to the right, right? So, and the media is all left. There's one channel on cable news that's not overtly left-wing, right? Everybody else is. And I'm not trying to divide us with this. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that's how it is, man. I'm not making that up. You guys know it's true. So you'll see it. And we know what people who lean to the left are afraid of, whether it's legit or not. We know what will trigger them. That word trigger is funny to me because it didn't exist in my lexicon ever in my life until, the last few years? And now it's part of your normal vernacular. It just comes out when you're speaking. Everybody knows what you're talking about. It's interesting how that happens. And then there's the stuff for like the hardcore conservative right people. So there's a whole bunch of people out there that are nervous, they're afraid about like what's going to happen with our gun rights and things like that. And that's what this is about here in California. Because our governor, it's hard for me to talk about this guy, Gruesome Newsom, all right? Because I have clients that are friends with him, that know him. I have a great client that grew up with him. They're friends. It's hard for me because sometimes they will say just something completely stupid. And then I'll be like, well, what about this? What about that? You know, I just hit them with reality, and I get them to admit that they don't understand the topic well enough, and it makes sense to them, and we can find common ground, but they continually just revert to their programming. It's a problem. I don't let it bother me too much. I understand it, psychologically speaking. I know this is where you came from. If you grew up in that area, and you're from a family with wealth, it just makes sense. But there's some new law, apparently, this affects gun owners, Second Amendment, in 2025, where they want you, you're going to have to register your firearms every year. You have to re-register them, every one of them. And if you don't, there's a fine. And if you get caught with one and it's not registered, it's a $1,000 fine. It's a $1,000 fine for every firearm that you may own. This is why a lot of the people I know who own firearms, even when I was in the film industry, like the guys that own firearms for films, they're all in Arizona. They store all their firearms in Arizona. They truck them in here to do a shoot or whatever. They go back to Arizona. I know people live here. They got homes in Arizona. You might wonder why I have a house in Arizona. You know what I'm saying? So it's crazy that they make you do that. I'll get to the law, but just how I see it, okay? And I know I'm preaching to the choir here, but if you're here and it's not a topic you don't really know a lot about other than how you feel about it, and you feel a certain way, but you don't actually know the truth, the reality of the situation, let me hit you with a few things, all right? First of all, more people, and look up the FBI statistics, because every time I look at them, it's pretty much the same thing. More people are killed with hands and blunt objects in this country than firearms of any kind. More people are killed with knives than firearms of any kind. Up to 3,000 times per day, according to the FBI, armed citizens thwart crime with the use of their own firearm. That doesn't mean necessarily that you're actually shooting at a criminal, but your firearm has stopped the crime from happening, right? You've brandished a firearm, whatever. They have to estimate that because most of that's not actually reported, but it's in their statistics. The criminals, the bad guys that want to harm you, the kind of guys that will kick your door in, beat you up, rape your wife, beat your kids, kill or maim you or your loved ones, they never pay attention to the law. So they're going to get whatever they want. So every law, regulation, everything else that's out there only hurts the law-abiding citizen. So what bothers me about this is that they make it harder for you to defend yourself, while at the same time, they're putting forth policies that are putting you in danger. They're letting people out of prison. There's catch and release. You can steal, almost $1,000 worth of stuff now without having to worry about getting arrested or anything else. They're allowing people to just cross the borders in droves, millions of people crossing the borders. There's all kinds of crime going on. It's insane. Hey, let's make it cost more money and make it harder for you to obtain a firearm to defend yourself. We're going to make your whole existence around you a living hell. Make it far more likely for you to encounter violence and crime and scumbags and everything else. But we're also going to make it harder for you to defend yourself, or make it cost more money. So who are you voting for? You going to vote for the people that support that policy? Or are you going to vote for the people that say, no, we're proponents of the Second Amendment? Second Amendment has never been about hunting. It's always been about the citizens having arms to, take down their own tyrannical government. That's what it is. And the argument, I don't want to get too deep into the weeds with this. It's not about, because I've talked about this before, and you guys know, a guerrilla force, things like that, can do a lot of damage. And it's not like you're going to war against the military. Military, I don't believe, would really fight us. It's not going to be jets dropping bombs on us. It'd be a whole different sort of thing. But I also don't think there's really going to be a civil war. I don't think there's a way to really make that happen. But those are all conversations I don't want to get into right now. I'm just talking about this thing that they want to pass. Apparently, I don't know how real this is. If it's not real, somebody in the comments is going to tell me. It's not going to change anything that I just said about how I feel. The cliches exist because they're true. Better to be, judged by 12 than carried by 6. When seconds count, the police are minutes away. It's up to you to defend yourself and your family and your loved ones, your property, whatever. When it comes to the property, and I've said this before, people go, you care about your stuff more than you care about somebody else's life. No, clearly that person cares more about my stuff than they do about their life. So they spin things all the time. It's like freedom from religion. It's not free. It's never been freedom from religion. It's always been freedom of religion. Okay? This is what they do, right? They manipulate the language. They spin things around. They show you pictures of horrible things. They narrate over it with a narrative to program your mind so that when you see somebody walking down the street with a red hat, you get pissed off. That's where, because you've been triggered. If you're triggered by stuff, it's because you were first programmed with bullshit. Just throwing that out there. Now, the other day, I came home from work. This is not what I was going to talk about, but I think it's a good story. And there was a limo, SUV, Cadillac Escalade blocking the driveway here. So I couldn't get in my parking space, and neither could anybody else. Maybe I'll put a couple, I shot a little clip. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I posted a picture on Instagram, which automatically loads up to my Facebook. It's interesting to me because I don't like getting into the negative and the overly preachy thing, or, the woe is me, the complaining, the look at this crap, or if I did, I'd have more views because I see that. As an example, I post this picture, and yeah, people who haven't commented on pictures I've had on Facebook before were coming out of the woodwork about it. What a jerk, tow him, puncture his tires, da-da-da. As if I didn't think all that. If you know me, you know I thought about that already. There's a guy, this Jailbreak Overland or something, I think he's called. I can't listen to him really because he's got this voice. And that could be his real voice. I'm not knocking him. I have to be careful when I'm talking about other YouTubers because they get a little bent with me sometimes. Because they misunderstand where I'm coming from. I'm not talking shit. I'm just saying these are my observations. And the observations I have, many of you backed up. So you see the same thing. I'm just saying it. It's like getting it, kill the friggin' messenger, man. But I don't like that aspect of it. But I do like his rig. I like his adventure. But I've noticed lately, and I haven't watched his videos in months because when I see the heading, it's all doom and gloom. And we're going to get into a civil war. And he got into his Bigfoot phase, which I'm down with. But the way he's doing it is different than how I would, whatever. I'm not trying to compare. I'm just saying. But he's going after that crowd. That, oh no, the fear factor of it. Let's engage the fear. Because that, I don't know if this is what he's thinking, but this is what is true based on what I just told you, and you can see it with your own eyes. That's how the media works. If it bleeds, it leads. We're going to scare the crap out of you, and then all the commercials are for pills to calm you down again. Hey, we just scared the shit out of you. Hey, take this pill, now you can go to work and keep feeding the economy. Keep watching the news, though, so we can scare the crap out of you and make you believe whatever we want to put in your mind. That's what they're doing. And that's what it seems like to me, even with YouTube, some YouTubers. I don't remember who I was watching the other day, but it was the same thing. And they were pointing out how they don't want to be asking for anything. Like, it's hard. Like, even with me, I'm basically broke at the moment. Like, this weather and a few other things have put me in a position where I haven't been pulling in any money in a while. But I'm not going to sit here and be like, please send me something, buy my stuff, whatever. I'm not that kind of person, but I'm going to tell you what's going on in my life, right? I don't have a Patreon, or I'm not selling any merchandise, and I don't have donations hooked up or GoFundMe or anything like that. Makes me feel weird. The irony is like the more successful you get at this, I suppose you kind of get into a lot of that naturally, and you put more effort into it, eats up more of your time, becomes more like a job, and I guess it kind of makes sense to be compensated for the amount of time that you put into it. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. But I just bring that up because it's the negative aspect of things. So I posted the picture. Everybody jumped on that. Many of us have been there before. You can't get into a spot at your home or whatever because your road's blocked or whatever. And when I pulled up to the car, I sat there for like 5 minutes. I honked the horn quite a few times, figuring, because it was a limo. I had the TCP with some numbers on the bumper, like, oh, maybe he's picking somebody up to go to the airport or something. Nobody came. And I was angry, man. Like I said, the whole week I was frustrated because I'm way behind. And I started thinking about financial stuff, just like I mentioned. I got my friend coming to town. We're supposed to drive up north, but like I said, it snowed in, so we had to find something else to do. All these things are in my mind. And I'm fat at the moment. There's a lot of stuff going on in my brain, man. I'm losing my hair. There's a lot of shit going on, man. So I come home, and so I park on the street, and I'm putting a note on this guy's car, which was, what are you, blind or stupid, asshole? Boom. Put on his windshield. And then I got up on my stoop and I sat there for a while, hoping the guy would come out. I wanted to watch him read the note, so I'd be like, yeah, I put the note there. What the fuck? Just because the way I look at it, it's not like trying to pick a fight with anybody. That's just shocking somebody enough so that they never do that again. They'll never do that again after that. I do that a lot in this world with people. Perfect strangers, when they just do just dumb stuff that it's not just about affecting me, it's about affecting everybody else. What's wrong with you, man? You're not thinking about anybody else but yourself, if you're thinking at all. And that's what I wanted to do. And I sat there and I waited quite some time, and my neighbor came over, and somebody came over with a big giant Saint Bernard, and they're in front of me chatting away, and I'm pissed, and I'm online, and I'm on my phone, I'm looking for rental companies that have those vehicles with the numbers on the dash, and I'm calling them up, and I must have called 5 or 6 places trying to find that number with one of these companies to find. Say, well, your car's sitting here blocking this driveway. And then I saw up the street, and this is going to be a story of how something that seemingly is bad and puts you in a bad mood suddenly can change to something that ends up becoming positive, because I look up the street at Lucy's El Adobe, which has been closed since, the pandemic. And I thought, well, maybe it has something to do with that, because there was a couple vehicles parked up there. And I thought, well, maybe they opened for some small thing, like a party or something. Maybe it's those people. So I have my bag with me, and I walk up there, and I'm pissed. But I'm cool, because these people I'm about to approach, they don't know. They probably have nothing to do with that vehicle. But I'm just trying to look for some information. I'm trying to solve the problem. Well, it's Patricia, the lady who owns the joint. I met her 30 years ago. And I said to her, I said, you don't remember me. I'm sure you don't remember me, but we knew each other 30 years ago. I used to come in here all the time. We would talk. And she's got this guy who's a friend of hers, Jim. And we had this great conversation for like an hour on the street. By the way, the whole time we were there, nobody ever moved that friggin' car, blocking the damn driveway. And it was really cool to talk to her. Really, really cool. I had a neighbor that lived here years ago. Many neighbors have lived right next to me. And this one guy's name was Delbert Lindham. And Del was a news reporter. He was a camera guy for Channel 9 News, which used to be right across Melrose Ave. And there was this restaurant there that I can't think of the name of right now as well. We were all talking about it. I remember when that closed down and they tore it down. And she knew Del, and she told me he had died in like 2014 or something, and that was a bummer. And it turns out that in 2014, she left that restaurant and her brother took it over. And apparently, he went in there and remodeled the place and kind of wrecked it. And I think he passed. I don't think he's with us anymore. So now she's back over there. And of course, COVID. I think, the sickness. We're not supposed to mention it. Excuse me. But apparently, like 20% of the restaurants that have closed, they're never coming back. And it could be more than that. And we were talking about all of that. And she was super sweet. Apparently, she works up at the observatory. I told her I haven't been up to the observatory since they remodeled it, which was quite some time ago. So she was telling me everything they did. So I got to do a pilgrimage up there again. And we talked about how, because back in the 90s, you go to the Greek observatory. You ever seen the movie Rebel Without a Cause with James Dean? They show it pretty well in there. If you're looking at the front doors of that, to the left of that, you can take a trail. And it goes down to the side of the mountain. There's a chain link fence and it overlooks the Greek theater. So at night, you can go up there and get to that chain link fence and watch concerts for free. And you're referred to as the tree people. I used to do that all the time back in the 90s. That was fun. So we talked about all of that. And she said, here's a little inside information for you Angelinos who are curious about Lucy's El Adobe. They're going to they want to remodel it back to its original interior. Jim looked me up right as we were talking, so who knows? Who knows? Maybe I'll have a hand in that. That'd be pretty cool. Jim's Greek. Started speaking to me in Greek, which I don't really get because my mother was not Greek. I think I might have mentioned this before, but I didn't even say my own last name correctly till I was in my 30s, and I was in Greece. And I learned I wasn't saying my name right. I asked my dad, like, Dad, what the hell? He goes, your mother can never get it right. So he never tried to make her get it right. My whole life I said my name wrong. It's crazy. So June, they think they might be open, at least have the bar open possibly in June this year, 2024. So for those of you curious, I was so happy to hear that. The Lucy El Adobe for me is awesome because I can meet somebody. It could be an online thing or whatever and say, let's meet someplace for drinks, maybe have dinner. Yeah, you know about Lucy's El Adobe? Sure. You meet them there, but they don't know I live across the street. Are you too tipsy to drive? Well, you know what? Footsteps away. It's like a trap. It was a perfect little thing. Oh, come into my lair. The 90s, but back then you weren't doing it online, but yeah, it was fun. And we used to have Smalls down the street too, which is a great bar, and that they shut their doors in like 2001, and then somebody bought it, remodeled it. It was very cool the way they remodeled it, but the prices went through the roof. You couldn't afford to drink there. Then that place went away. Now it's the Porvo or whatever it is, and I've been there before, and it's ridiculously expensive. And I don't like the crowd. I don't like the music. And they went over the, in my opinion, it's over the top. But dive bars are what you need. Cool little hip dive bars that the average person can afford to hang out and drink at and have conversations in. There's plenty of upscale joints for those types of people, that want to be seen. They want to look cool. Whatever that is, that thing that they do when they go out. Those places already exist. There's plenty of them around, but the dive bars are disappearing, and that's what sucks. We had that conversation. And then it got to the governor because of this thing that they're going to do, right? So this is crazy. And she had read about it. And so it was interesting to hear her take, which I won't get that into, but I don't know if they already passed it, or they're going to pass it, or we got to vote on it, or what. But there's this thing, he wants to raise the minimum wage for fast food restaurants to $20 an hour. But there's this thing they did. They're exempting businesses that bake bread on the premises. And it just so happens, the reason why they did that is because one of his big donors, one of his buddies, is the guy that owns Panera Bread. And so this is how politics work. This is the problem with this guy that we got here. Because most politicians do this. The people that put them in office, the people that support them, get favors. And then there's cronyism involved, all this stuff going on. It's right happening before our eyes. If you're voting for this guy, that's what you're voting for. You okay with that? You're going to say everybody does it. That's the game. Okay. So know what you're getting yourselves into, because you're voting for somebody who wants to they're making the world around you more dangerous, and they're making it harder for you to defend yourself. And when businesses are paying workers more, well, then the price of the product goes up. Now you're paying more for that. And I find that interesting because my father was a baker, and the places where you actually have to bake bread requires more knowledge. Like, that's more work than working at just a cash register at a fast food joint, or putting together frozen parts and heating them up in a microwave, or taking the frozen food out and putting it on a grill for exactly enough time. I mean, it's basically automated at this point. You know, you got a human just to push buttons and turn things over and package it up and put it up to the thing. It's not like it's hard work. They've decided to treat the fast food industry as people who are like raising a family as well, versus what it really was always intended to be, which is an entry-level position. You're not supposed to live on what you make as a fast food worker. That's an entry-level position. That's like where you go there when you're young, you're in high school, you're working your way through college, maybe you're in your early 20s. It's a first job that teaches you your work ethic, getting into a place on time, doing a good job. You know, all the basic stuff that you got to learn, and then you're supposed to get sick of it and move up and out to something bigger and better. Make your life better. You're not supposed to just, I mean, look, I get it. Not everybody has the same mindset I have. I'm just saying. Like, it's not my fault that you want to stay in that position and you're going to cry to make more money. All right. You should be getting out of that position and figure out a way to make more money, learn a trade or something. So it's crazy. Meanwhile, the guys that own the companies where they're baking bread on premises, their workers actually work harder, and now he gets to pay them less than what the guys doing less work are making at the fast food joints. So who's going to want to work at Panera Bread if they could go over to McDonald's or something to make more money and work less? You know what I'm saying? Or you know what I mean? As far as work less. That's the other thing that they do. And I know this because my sister's in this world, kind of. You're not making, a lot of places won't even allow you to get 40 hours. They keep you under 40 hours. So there's like all this weird stuff going on in those fields. Learn how to do something, man. I don't care. You're better off starting your own business, cleaning windows, cleaning out garages, you know, writing up something and printing it out and putting flyers in your neighborhood to do something. Whatever it is, man. Figure it out. Don't be lazy. My God. So once again, it's just an example of this. And then when confronted with this, what Gruesome Newsom said was, well, that's the sausage making of politics. I'm paraphrasing there, I believe. So he's admitting what he's doing. Like, this is what's done. This is how you do it. This guy gave me money. We're going to pass this thing, but I'm going to exempt him because he's my buddy. The same thing he did when the Chinese came to town to talk to him. He cleaned up the streets. And he said, well, when somebody, somebody's coming over to visit you at your house, like I did last couple of days, you clean your house. Doesn't that mean he can clean it anytime he wants? But he's just choosing not to? Till he has to? He's such a slimy, just scumbag. It's crazy, man. It's insane to me. I just threw something in the garbage. Like, it's political season, so we get all these flyers in the mail and everything, and it's all the left. There's nothing coming from Republicans. It's all coming from the left. And every time I see somebody running for a particular office and they got a picture of themselves with the current governor, I'm like, well, that's absolutely somebody I don't want in. Now I know who not to vote for. Thank you. And keep cutting them trees down to mail all that stuff out, because there's that political left machine, the way that they do that. It's pretty crazy. So I'm not saying, well, I am to a certain degree. You wouldn't know. You can't. I'm in California. Do we know that Republicans would run the place better? I don't know anymore, because they haven't done it in a long time. All I know is that the cities and the states that are blue tend to have the biggest issues, right? The biggest problems. And they convince people that the way to solve the problems is passing regulations and laws that make our lives more complicated, more difficult, take more money out of your pocket, and never solve the problem at the same time. And there's a litany of that. You can just go down. I don't have to sit here and go through this with you. You know what it is. If you're my age, you should know this stuff. They convince you it's going to get better. It doesn't. Go all the way back to the Department of Education. I've talked about it before. If we do this, we create this, then we're going to have a better standing in the world with our children. We're going to have math scores are going to go up, reading scores are going to go up, everything. No. Kids today are dumber than they have ever been. I was talking to a woman the other day. She called me about her van. She's got an Astro van, which, real quick on that, she's got this Astro van she picked up used. Was everything, the all-wheel drive was functioning fine. She brought it to a place. They said, oh, the transfer case is dry. They said they put transmission fluid in it. And then she started getting this whining noise and everything else. It wasn't working right anymore. Now it's at a transmission shop. They wanted to charge her like $2,200 to replace the transfer case. I'm like, whoa, 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 whoa. First of all, the Astrovan transfer case doesn't take transmission oil. It takes a stuff called AutoTrack 2. I believe it's a blue color. I don't know. I took mine out when I first got it, and I put an S10 transfer case that has selectable 4x4, which does use regular transmission fluid. So that's different. But if they put transmission fluid in your dry, your transfer case will actually run better dry than if you put transmission fluid in it, as far as the all-wheel drive unit in the Astrovan. So it sounds to me more like they wrecked their transfer case, and now they want to overcharge her to fix it. And I said, can't call right now, cancel the transfer case, bring it to a transmission shop. Even before you do it, she said it was leaking, which it was never leaking before, but that's because there was nothing in it, apparently. I said, spray it down, wipe it off with some rags, dry it up down your driveway, let it idle, turn it off, put some cardboard in there, let it sit under overnight, and see what happens. Open up the drain plug, stick your finger in it. If that fluid is red, they put the wrong stuff in it. Button it back up, drive it to or get it, tow it, whatever, to your transmission place, talk to them, deal with the other people, because if they did that and they wrecked it, they're responsible for fixing it. I've seen that a lot with mechanic shops, man. I hate to put it out there, but I had it happen to me at a shop on the west side. They'll do work, they'll wreck stuff, and then they'll try to overcharge you to fix the stuff that they wrecked. That's criminal, man. Straight up. I'm the last guy that I have to walk away from those places and not engage in it, because I'll lose my shit. Like, I don't want to have an incident, but I'm like that. I'll just, it's not good. So it's amazing to me that they get away with that stuff. It's unfortunate too that they usually pick on women with that sort of thing. It's weird that they tried to do it to me, because I'm underneath the vehicle with them, talking about what's going on. And then I still found out that they did stuff wrong and tried to charge me for it. So anyway, I hope I nipped that in the bud. So I jumped off point there. Sorry. She's a teacher, and she's a special eds teacher. And so we had this conversation about education and the Department of Education. And the things I was saying, she was 100% backing me. As a matter of fact, the friend who's going to be here tonight and be here all week is a teacher. Now, she teaches in a private school in Canada. She's a science teacher. She speaks 3 languages. She's got 3 master's degrees, political science, geography, and education. And she was a vice principal in the public school system for a short period of time as well. She hated. I mean, she's published. She wrote a thesis on the problems that Canada was having with immigration, like people from the Middle East and all that. And this is 20 years ago. And it's pretty wild what she was writing back then. Well-spoken, good-looking. I mean, she could do something with that if she wanted to. She should probably write something about her experience in the public school system versus the private school system. But, she understands this as well. And what we did here with the Department of Education, basically we created a giant bureaucracy that puts administrators in schools that are there to implement nonsense. and get you away from teaching your kids how to think on their own, but telling them what to think. That's what's been going on. It's a big propaganda machine. It's a programming machine. It's been going on since 1980. So, I mean, we got to get a president in there who's going to get rid of that. And it's crazy because so it's like I say this all the time. There's about 3% of the population that has the mindset and the balls to care about something bigger than themselves. And maybe they're crazy. Maybe we're crazy. I'm one of them who's willing to go to war, right? That's just how it is. 3% of the population will fight all the wars, make you safe, give you your freedom, and everything else. That's how it is. There's a larger percentage of people in the world that are out of their friggin' minds that have the bureaucratic mindset. And so governments have to find them jobs too, I guess they feel like. So that's what they do. That's what they do. The bureaucrats are the worst worms on the planet. They're the worst kind of human being, man. Because they are convinced that they're there to help people, but all the meddling that they do does nothing but make people miserable and more poor. If you want to make the world better, you do kind of you set things up so you set things up for the people that are going to go to take advantage of it with their own ambition. You don't just give stuff away for free, because it's not for free. It's the taxpayer money. And the fact that this country right now is just shelling out billions of dollars to all these other countries, most of whom hate us, it's crazy what's going on. I mean, I don't want to be super political. I'm just saying. But it's something we have to all be thinking about right now, because we got this season coming up here. We're going to see what happens. It's going to be interesting. But that's about it. You know, this car blocks the driveway. I'm pissed. Oh, by the way, the outcome there was, you know, I have this friend who lives up front. Her name's Angel. Gorgeous, blonde hair, Italian gal. I've known her for decades. And she's a teacher. She's a pretty ardent leftist. So from time to time, we get into it a little bit. And I have fun with her. But, you know, I make a lot of sense. She can't argue against what I'm saying. And I always point out to her, you're just looking at this from an emotional point of view. You're not looking at the facts, you know. You can't base your, you know, I go through this with her all the time. She's awesome. She's just wrong a lot, but she's awesome. And, but she had the phone numbers, and she called the city, and boom, boom, boom. I went out there like an hour later, and we were out front, and the tow truck was there, and that thing got towed. So that was the outcome with that. And it's going to be funny. Who knows? I'll never see the guy. But he went out there to get his car, and it was gone. He may not even remember that he blocked the driveway, which means if he doesn't, he'll probably do it again. And if he does it again this time, I'm calling my good friend, who we don't agree eye to eye at all on the way the world runs, but she knows how to get shit done. So I thank her for that. She's like, see, you need a woman. I'm like, I know. I've been trying to convince you this for decades. We went out a little bit back in the day, but I couldn't handle that part of it. You don't have to think the same way I do on everything. But when you're confronted with reality and, you know, facts that you both agree are real, then, you know, you have to find that kind of common ground. And if you still want to revert back to this emotion-based thinking that's not supported by reality other than other emotional ways of thinking, I can't tolerate it, man. Can't deal with it. So that's it. This is your Sunday night chat. It's a quick one. It's probably a lot shorter than my others. I hope you got something out of it. I don't know. I'm sure there will be some videos this week. I just don't know what. You might not see one until the stuff gets here from IceCo. Interestingly, you know, my plan originally months ago when this friend of mine was going to come out was, like I said, we're going to go out maybe the Saline Valley, but we can't get there now. And because I'm so far behind, I'm actually going to have to do some work while she's here. I can't just take all this time off. So I will be back to doing a little bit of work this week, but I'll do like half days or something. So like still spend time with her. And then more towards the end of the week, we'll do some adventuring around, and I'll try to get out to Joshua Tree maybe, because that's pretty easy. Who knows? We might drive out to Tacopa, you know, hit a hot spring there or something. I'll give Sarah a call, see if she's around. Maybe we all do some kind of adventure together. If we do that, you'll see it. And if we do that, then it'll be part of my Ice Cove video thing that I'm obligated to do now. So, but listen, if you've got a product out there and it's something that you think I can, you know, it's my kind of thing, and you're okay with my honest review on it, hit me up on that. It's cool. Same thing with t-shirts and that sort of thing. If you want to see one of your t-shirts on me, because people have done that with me before in the past, I'll do it. Send it along. If there's any ideas out there for that sort of stuff where I could pitch something or make some money, I'm willing to do it. But I'm not going to fake anything. I'm from the Brady Bunch school of advertising. You guys remember that episode? Wasn't that the one with the... was that the laundry detergent, right? Somebody came along, they like, we want your family to promote this laundry detergent. Like by the end of the episode, it was nothing but suds on the screen. But they were all like, we have to try it first. Like, we're not going to just say it's the greatest thing on earth unless we believe it. I really believe that. I really believe it. If I'm telling you this is how it is, this is my experience, that is the truth. I'm not going to lie about anything. I don't do that. Which is a problem for people, not being able to lie. People want you to lie for them to promote something, which is why I'm not a politician. With that, have a great night. Enjoy your, I hope you enjoyed your weekend, because it's Sunday night when you're watching this. And, you know, start off the week, man. You know, start off on the run, man. Be positive tomorrow morning. Be good to one another. Have a great week. And I'll catch you all in the next one. Bye.